Good morning. Good morning. I'm just waiting for people to come in from the waiting room, so I'll give it a couple of seconds and then we'll get started. Okay, I can see people trickling in. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So good morning and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Camille Blomdahl and I'm the Director of Client Services at WealthTrace. I will be taking you through the WealthTrace Planner today. If you have any questions as we go along, please send them through the chat and I will do my best to answer them either after each section, or I may need to hold off on answering some of them until the end of the webinar. Or if it's something really complicated, I may need to follow up with you via email. So to ask a question, please click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your window. That'll open up in a new window for you and you'll be able to send any questions that you have there. But we are going to be starting off on the dashboard. On the dashboard, we have these 4 sections, which show your asset allocation, your projected investment balances over time, your net worth summary, and the projected investment values at retirement and at the end of your plan, along with the projected net worth at the end of the plan. These headers can also be clicked on, which will take you to that specific section. On the right-hand side, you can view all the investment accounts that are in your plan. You can see your current total investment balance at the top along with your total net worth. To add an investment account, you can click on this plus icon right here. This will open up a new window where you can either choose to link an account or to manually add an account. The accounts that show a date here and a green little icon are accounts that have been linked through Yodlee. If the account is highlighted in red here, then this means you will need to click on it to refresh the link. If you go ahead and scroll down, you can view quick links to various sections of the software. If you click on any of these, this will bring you to directly to that section. So you can explore your retirement cash flows, run Roth conversion scenarios, do your asset allocation, holdings, performance, and so on. Just got a question from John asking if this is being recorded. Yes, I will record this and we will send everyone a link with the recording. And you can watch it later on YouTube if you want to. Before we leave the dashboard, I want to show you something. If you go ahead and click on one of your investment accounts over on the right, this will take you to the account assumptions and settings for that account. So we clicked on the brokerage account that was listed, which takes us to the account assumptions and settings for that specific account. So now we are on the cash flow input screen, which you can see over here. And in here you can view and edit the account name, change the owner, update the current balance, change the account type, and also edit or enter the cost basis. You can edit additional account settings and assumptions down below. So for example, your annual return, if we click on this, this will open a new window. There has been a little bit of confusion regarding how to save your changes in here. Once you've made a change on any of these settings, you can just go ahead and click on the back arrow and your changes will be saved automatically. You can enter annual contributions in here, edit the use of fund rules, edit the account assumptions, and you can also view or edit the account holdings. So this is a linked account, so you can see the holdings listed in here along with the asset classes assigned and the balances. Before we leave the account settings, you can also click here to view the asset allocation for this specific account. And you'll see this little magnifying glass up here, which if you click on this, this will take you to the investment insights section. I won't go ahead and click on that just yet because there's more things I want to show you here, but just wanted you to know that that is there. I apologize if you can hear my dog barking in the background. Hopefully you cannot. She will stop soon. Greg asked how secure are linked investment accounts. So everything is done through Yodlee. We do not save any credentials, usernames, logins, nothing on our end. It's all done through Yodlee. They are one of the largest aggregators or linking providers in the country. They work with pretty much every bank or brokerage that you can think of. So they have to adhere to extremely strict security protocols to be able to do that. But we personally, WealthTrace, we do not store any sensitive information at all. It's all stored through Yodlee. So you can click on these various headers up here to look at the different graphs. So we'll go ahead and click on some of these so you can see what they look like. You can hover over the bars to view the data in more detail. And you can also click on or hover over the legend down below to filter out the data. If you hover over one of these expenses, for example, it will isolate it in the graph. And if you click on it, it will filter it out instead and remove it from the graph. And these little three bars up here, you can click on to download these graphs as well. You can view your asset allocation across all accounts over here on the right. And if you have a future asset reallocation added, you can also see that here. And then down below, this is the same information that's on the dashboard, but you can view your projected investment values at your retirement dates and at the end of your plan, along with your projected net worth. Any data that you change below here, by the way, as well, will show you what happens to your plan projections, asset allocation, and cash flow graphs immediately above, which is great if you're exploring adding new expenses, cash inflows, or other types of scenarios. So you don't technically have to go to the scenario screen to run various scenarios. You can actually do it right here. So if we scroll down, this is where you can view and add your investment accounts, your cash inflows, goals and additional expenses, assets and liabilities. Here, we'll go back to the accounts. So if you go ahead and click on this plus icon, you can also add an account here. And if you choose to manually add an account, you can select from one of these account types. The account will then automatically be placed into the correct investment section for you. So if you click on non-qualified annuity, for example, we'll go ahead and click on that. This will again bring you to that account assumptions and settings screen where you can input the account details. If you want to link an account, like we were talking about a little bit, you can either click on this plus icon here, or you can go ahead and click on it on the dashboard. And oh, Rick just asked how do you delete an account? I'll show that quickly. So you'll see the little trash can icon right here. If you click on it, it'll ask you, are you sure you want to delete this? And you can hit yes, and then it'll go away. And that works for linked or manually entered accounts. Both can be deleted that way. I do want to give you some additional information on why linking accounts through Yodlee is extremely valuable when you're creating your financial plan. So when investment accounts are linked through Yodlee, the investment assets are updated daily, and we're able to retrieve every underlying holding, such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and more. We also retrieve the asset class that the holding is assigned to. This allows us to map the holding to the correct asset class within WealthTrace. It also allows us to pull in the historical information for that holding, which is extremely valuable and adds to the accuracy of the projections. I also want to mention that we are working on adding a secondary linking provider. So any of those or any of you that may have been experiencing issues linking certain accounts through Yodlee, we will have a secondary linking provider, and that will be Plaid. That should be ready in about 4 weeks or so. I also want to mention quickly that we recently added two-factor authentication. This was a highly requested feature, so we're happy to announce that that has been added. You should see it in the software for you. It's been there for a couple weeks now, but if you want to enable this for your account, you can click on your username in the top right corner and go to account information. So you click up here, account information, and then you'll see the option to toggle it on or off. If you toggle this on, the authentication code will be sent to the email associated with your account the next time you log in. So you just have to toggle it on. You don't have to do anything else. Um, we don't have the ability to add your phone number yet. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but it will, at the moment at least, go to your email. Just taking a quick peek at the questions. Is there any way to enter stock/fund symbols to have investments automatically fill in if I don't want to link my actual accounts? Yes. We're going to talk a little, actually, I can show you right now. So if you want to manually add an account and manually add the holdings, you can do that instead. So it's just an alternative. So this is not a linked account. You can select, you'll see it'll look like this. You can enter underlying holdings, click on this, and then in here, you can go ahead and enter the holding name, ticker symbol, shares. Your balance will automatically fill in for you based on the share amount. And then we can go ahead and update that every day. The only thing that won't be updated with a manually entered account is any trades or, transfers, things like that. But this price file will be updated daily. So that is the other option if you do not want to link. Can we handle options? No, we cannot. David, let me hold off on your question a little bit. I may need to check on that. So I will think about that one for a minute. Let's take a look at the cash inflow section. So in here, you can click on your Social Security to update your annual payment. You can click here to make any changes to the start date as well, when you're going to start taking it, and also indicate if it's going to be changing in the future. So that's applicable for those who may be taking their own Social Security to start, and then might be taking their spouse's Social Security. You can also enter a pension here. Again, click on it to edit the start date, the growth rate, and the survivor benefit. If you want to go ahead and add a cash inflow, just click on the plus icon up here, and then you can either select from one of these cash inflows or you can select other cash inflow down here at the bottom. So if we click on sale of home, for example, you can change the name of the cash inflow and the annual cash inflow amount. A somewhat new feature for this cash inflow is that you can add the cost basis in here, along with, you can indicate if this is your primary home for the primary home tax exclusion. So I just wanted to show that that is in there in case you didn't see it. In the cash inflows, you'll want to enter any type of income that you will receive outside of your normal salary or any income that you will receive in retirement. Anonymous attendee, will Social Security update for COLA each year? Yes. So the COLA rate that you enter in plan settings, which we'll go over a little bit later, will affect your Social Security projections. So yes, these will grow with the COLA rate. Nick asks, can you enter physical gold and silver so that it tracks the stock price similar to, or the spot price similar to stock prices? There are gold and silver ETFs or stocks that you can use, which you can enter in here, and those will move along. You just need a ticker. So if you can find a holding that tracks the price of gold, I think there is one for gold, for example, you can just go ahead and enter that, and that will work. Okay, in the goals and additional expenses section, you can enter any type of expenses that you would not want included in your recurring annual living expenses. So what should go in here include expenses that won't last forever in retirement, expenses that don't recur every year, or expenses that have a different growth rate than the general inflation rate, or anything that you simply want to break out from your general living expenses. So to add an expense, you click here and then select from one of the existing types of expenses, or again, you can click on other goal and expense/expense. If we click on medical expenses, for example, you'll see the option to change the name and the annual expense amount, and then specify when it starts, ends, growth rate, and you also have the option for a funding source. You'll see these for the majority of the expenses. So If you have an HSA account, for example, in your plan and you have medical expenses, you can select to be or to fund that with that one account. Just wanted to show you that and get out of that. And then another account type that I want to quickly show you is qualified charitable distributions. Um, this is a new goal that was added pretty recently, and I just want to show you, oops, that you can enter these and also where they show up in the cash flow projections. Because before, when we added them initially, they didn't show up anywhere. Now they do. So if you add a qualified charitable distribution, your RMDs will be reduced by that amount. Another update to this goal is that if you enter a QCD that is larger than your annual RMD, they will now draw from the account balance. And you can find them listed in your cash flow projections as an additional expense under the cash flow distributions tab and the expenses tab. But I'm going to show you that a little bit later when we get there. So I'm going to save that. Oh, sorry, actually. We're going to go like that. Okay. And then if you have any questions as we're going along, again, feel free to send them through. Just taking a peek at questions again. Let me continue and then I'll take a look at your question, Mitchell, that you just sent through. In the other assets, you can enter any tangible assets that you own, such as a home, collectibles, valuable art, or any other assets that you want included in your net worth. You can also enter intangible assets, such as a future life insurance payout, inheritance, a gift you may be receiving, and so on. You can click on the plus icon here and you'll see the various existing options, or you can click on other assets. I won't click on it again because we've clicked on so many. In the liabilities, you can enter any loans that you have, including a mortgage. So Mitchell's asking, in a mortgage, a portion of each payment attributes to principal. How is that accounted for? So when it comes to the expense part, when you add a mortgage in here, we are just looking at the payment. This is going to be separate from your actual mortgage in here. Your mortgage here will reduce, including the interest rate in here. We're not really looking at the principal versus interest rate. We're just looking at the total mortgage, so you can enter your details in there. Here, we're just looking at the annual amount. So it doesn't necessarily matter in terms of the projections. We are working on the ability of adding or linking mortgages as well, which will make this a little bit more accurate, but right now you do have to manually enter them. John is asking, how do we access the recorded version? I'm assuming of the webinar. We will send out a link afterwards and it will be posted on YouTube. So you can find it there. Okay, so we're going to pop over to plan settings. So in here, you'll again see those cash flow projection graphs above your overall asset allocation and your projected investment values. If you scroll down, you can view and edit the underlying plan settings. So in here, you can make basic changes to the information for the primary person and additional person in the plan. If you click on this pencil icon, this will allow you to change the name and date of birth for the people in the plan as well. Your annual living expenses should be entered in here, along with whether or not this expense will be reduced when one partner passes away. You can choose one expense for the plan, or you can choose varying expenses. There is also a built-in budget worksheet, which you can utilize to figure out how much you are spending on your annual expenses. And you can, oh, actually, let me open that again. You can also toggle between these three to see how that affects your plan projections. And I want to mention too that just like in the cash flow input screen, you can actually see how changing your annual living expenses affects your projections immediately above. So right now we're at 102. If I go ahead and change this to 50,000, keep an eye on the graph and also the projected investment values. You'll see these drop. And then if we go ahead and bring it way up to 250,000, you can really see a huge change. So now they have a shortfall, for example, which you'll see in the graph up here. So I just wanted to show you guys that you can actually run kind of quick scenarios on that in here as well. You can change your inflation and COLA rate here and either choose a static rate for the entirety of the plan, or you can choose to vary these by year. So you can click here. This is now a new window, and then you can vary the rates by year in here. So the COLA rate question that someone had a little bit earlier, this is where you can edit that, and this will affect the Social Security payment in your projections or in your plan. The software can estimate your federal and state income taxes for you. You can indicate whether if you will be moving to a new state in the future here, and also which year that you will be moving. You can also edit your tax deductions below and indicate if you have a capital loss carryover that you are using. Don't forget to update this amount anytime you have actually used it in real life. You can add up to 2 asset reallocations. You can select for one of our model portfolios, or you can create your own. I'm going to show you where to do that a little bit later, but you'll find these in the global settings, which is over here. You can apply an asset management fee or fund fee across all your accounts in here, and you can select to either apply the fee to one account or by individual account. And in the other settings, you have a couple of other settings that you can toggle on or off down below. Let's hop over to Monte Carlo. Someone's asking if living expenses should include assumed taxes. No, or should not. No, you do not want to include any taxes in the living expenses. We will add those for you. All right, so let's take a look at Monte Carlo. So for those who are not familiar with Monte Carlo, Monte Carlo and WealthTrace tells you the probability that you will never run out of money in retirement. We run 1,000 scenarios where the rates of return on all your investments change in every year. We drill down into every holding that you own and look at the history of the asset class to see what its average rate of return, volatility, and correlation with your other assets has been. We offer the most accurate Monte Carlo result that you can get because we are actually looking at every single holding that you own. WealthTrace is then able to generate a distribution of investment returns, which allow the program to generate a series of varying investment returns every year. When the Monte Carlo simulations are run, the program counts how many times in these simulations you run out of money. So what is shown here is the percent of time that you never run out of money. So naturally, the best you can get is 100%. Over on the right, you can actually see the 1,000 trials that have been run behind the scenes. And if you hover over the graph, you can see the top quartile, the median, and the bottom quartile numbers in each year. The bottom left graph shows you the probability of funding all goals through time broken out annually. You can also hover over these bars to see the person's age in that year and the probability of funding all goals in that specific year. So if they didn't have 100%, you would see some of these be less than 100% as well. So if there was particular years where they weren't able to fund all goals, you would see dips in this graph right here. And over on the right, you can also see the average investment values broken down by quartiles along with the median. A good indicator I'll just mention for this is this helps show you the volatility of your plan as well. If you had a huge difference between this number and this number, say this was 500,000, this was 10 million, for example, it typically indicates that you have a very volatile portfolio that is more prone to a lot of these being all over the place. So I just wanted to mention that. And then if you are an existing user or if you attended one of our webinars earlier this year, you will know that you used to be able to run quick scenarios on the screen by changing variables like investment returns, amounts spent on annual expenses, additional expenses, and so on. This feature will be coming back later this year in the form of sliders at the top. So if you are an existing user and you remember the sliders, they're coming back. Someone just asked, any plans to increase scenarios in Monte Carlo? Yes. So that is what I was just talking about. Soon you'll be able to run those quick scenarios in here as well. So that is coming and being actively worked on. In the cash flow projection section, you can view your cash flow year by year. So on the cash flow distribution screen, you can view items such as your Social Security and pension income, your expenses in retirement. We'll scroll down a little bit. Remember, I was talking about those qualified charitable distributions. Here they are. Now they are showing up. You can also view your projected estimated federal and state income taxes down below here and your estimated required minimum distributions. On the investments and cash inflow screen, you can view your beginning and investment balance in each year, any contributions you have added, um, your investment balance and growth broken down by each account, and much more. You'll also see at the top, you'll have the option to filter this data. So in here, you can click to either select or select all and then add in whatever you want to view. This just allows you to remove any columns that you're not interested in viewing or just making the data easier to view. You can also export this to Excel, PDF, or CSV. We'll add those back in. And then in the expenses screen, you can view your annual living expenses in retirement over here, along with any additional expenses. You'll also see again, those qualified charitable distributions are in here. You can view how expenses are being paid or how we are assuming they are being paid in the software here. This is a great place to look if you want to see what assumptions are being made in terms of expenses. You can also view a very detailed breakdown of your taxes. If we scroll to the right, you can see even more over here, along with your effective federal tax income rate, income tax rate, and more. You can also view your total income versus expenses in each year and whether or not you will have a surplus or a shortfall. And the last screen shows you all of your data. Oh, the last question was related to Monte Carlo. If we're going from 1,000 scenarios, I'm assuming, or trials to 5,000, for example. No plans on that yet. Good question. I'll ask the team what the thoughts are regarding that. That would be interesting. So in the investment insights section, you can view the historical data for all your investment accounts and also look at all the holdings that are in each account. On the investment holding screen, you can view the asset allocation by individual account or group any combination of accounts together. You can also choose to look at this by account type down here, but we're going to go ahead and click on all accounts. This way, I can take a look at every single holding that is in this plan across all of the various accounts. Down below, you can look at the current balance, the percentage of account, the asset class that has been assigned, and the year-to-date return. And I just want to clarify too that the number shown here is the public year-to-date return. For the holding, it is not your specific year-to-date return. And if you see an NA next to a holding, for example, I don't think we have any. Oh, here is an NA. Then it means that either no ticker symbol has been entered or it is a cash holding or cash equivalent holding. One recent change on this screen as well is if you click on this option up here of Do Not Group, the software will now collate all of your identical holdings into one amount below. So let's say I own Schwab S&P 500 index fund across 5 of my accounts, for example. These have now been grouped into one amount here. So that is a recent addition. One person is asking if I'm going to go over traditional IRA to backdoor or Roth IRA analysis. Not the backdoor version specifically. I am going to go over the Roth IRA conversions. And I'm actually going to give you guys a sneak peek of our Roth IRA conversion optimizer, which is coming very soon. So you're going to see that soon as well. Once we're done here and we head into scenarios. So we'll breeze through some of this so we can get to that. You can view the performance data for your individual holdings. If you click on a holding below, you'll see the performance broken down annually in the graph and also here. You can also compare holdings performance, which is interesting. So if we click on the Schwab fund again, we go ahead and compare it to SPY. You can see in the graph the last 10 years and also here. And you can also look at the difference in the expense ratio. You can view the income that has been generated by your linked accounts. You can choose the time frame up here and also which accounts you would like to include here. Again, this only works for linked accounts. You can also view the balance over time for your, again, linked accounts. And you can view it either in a graph format or in a table format. This is not working right now. I think it's because I need to refresh, but normally you would see a graph here. The fund fees and turnover shows you how much you are paying to own your various funds. This works for your linked accounts and for manually entered accounts as long as you have entered the individual holding along with the ticker. And also, just to clear up any confusion regarding these fees that are listed here, the fees shown here are informational only. We do not use these in your plan projections. If you want to account for fund fees, you can enter a flat fee across all your accounts in the plan settings, or you can choose to enter a fee per account, or some users choose to reduce the annual return a little bit to account for that too. So those are your different options. And then finally, you can also view the transactions. Let me see if I can refresh to get that going. There we go. Hold on. No, okay. We'll do this. Yeah, okay. Normally, you can view your transactions in here and choose which accounts, and you can also search transactions. So if you want to view just trades, you can type that in and they'll show up here. But let's head over to the scenarios. So these are our preset what if scenarios. You can go ahead and move these sliders. So we'll do retire earlier for Heather by 2 years. And once that's done, you can view the results at the bottom. So it'll show you the difference in the investment value at the end of the plan and also probability of funding all goals. In the user-defined what-if scenarios, you can combine different scenarios. So for example, if we add scenario, we'll just name this one test. And we're going to go ahead and have her retire 2 years later and increase living expenses by 20%. Hit save, hit run. And this will show you the results below, but you also have the option to view more detailed data for these scenarios. So if you click on view detailed projections, this is the one we just made, you can view the cash flow projections for this scenario. Again, you can also filter this out and export the data. You can run bear market scenarios. You can run an insurance scenario or insurance analysis scenario. And then you can also run asset allocation scenarios. So you can view your current asset allocation across all accounts here in this pie chart. And you can choose to either reallocate from a model or by asset class. If you choose by asset class, these will appear instead. And you can edit those. Or if we go back to by model, you can pick from one of these model portfolios. Again, if you add your own model portfolio, that will pop up here as well. So if you select one of these, it'll change the proposed allocation, and then you can choose when to reallocate and then just hit the run asset allocation scenario. But let's move ahead to the Roth IRA conversions. So in here, you can select which IRA you would like to convert from. We'll take that one out. Which tax bracket you would like to stay under, when you want to start your conversion age, or what age you want to start it, and then for how many years, and then hit run Roth conversion. If you also want to include another account, I'll go ahead and do that. We can add the IRA and then you hit run Roth conversion. When you're finished, you can view the result over on the right-hand side. So you'll see the base case listed here. You can see the investment values at the end of the plan or at the retirement, along with the total taxes paid over the plan or the life of the plan. And then you'll see the Roth conversion scenario down below. So if you scroll down further, you can actually see the Cash flow projections for the base case and the Roth conversion scenario. So you'll see the years that it's converting and how much. We have also added the filter feature here. So if you want to filter this out to view specific things, you just want to view how much it's converting and how much that's affecting your taxes, for example, you can choose those and then you can export this. Um, just looking at one of the questions, do scenarios contemplate taxable versus tax deferred versus tax-free accounts where assets are located? So when we run the Roth conversion scenario, we are comparing, or we're assuming that the assets are going to be allocated in the same way in the Roth IRA, so that we're comparing apples to apples. So whatever your asset allocation is in these accounts, we're assuming you're going to put the Roth funds in those same funds or in the same allocation, so that we're looking at the same thing, if that makes sense. But let me go ahead and show you the Roth conversion optimizer. So this is still in production, so it may not look exactly like this when it has been integrated into the software, but you'll see here that you have the option to just run a regular Roth IRA conversion here, or you can run the conversion optimization. So you can choose from two different things here. You can either maximize ending investment value or minimize lifetime taxes paid. You can also limit the start age and the end age for the conversion and set a maximum federal tax bracket that you do not want to go over. We're going to leave those alone for now, and I'm going to hit find optimal conversion. So what this is doing is that it's finding the optimal amounts and timing for you to convert either one or multiple IRAs to Roth IRAs to maximize your plan results. So here you can see the results saying that it may be worthwhile, why, and then if we go down, it'll actually show you which accounts it is converting. So it's converting David's IRA and his 401k and then Jane's IRA. And it's showing you which years and the amounts. So this will only be available to deluxe plan subscribers. And another feature that will be added after the optimizer has been implemented is the ability to auto apply these conversions. So right now you do have to manually enter any Roth conversions, even if you run the regular IRA conversion. So instead of manually having to enter those later, you'll be able to just hit a button and they will be added for you. And then another feature that we're working on adding in this section is the ability to show the value to heirs in terms of Roth conversions. This is still in early production, but it's something that we are working on adding. So before I leave this, let me look at a couple of questions. Rob, can you give me a little bit more information on your question, please? Do the cash flow results list any IRMA payments? If you're thinking in terms of Medicare, we do. We compare the difference of before and after. So let's see if I can find that. So we do show the difference of your Medicare premiums before and after the Roth conversion. So obviously, while you're doing it, it's going to go way up, but then later it'll go way down. But let me head it over to the regular website again. Okay, so you guys can keep asking questions in the background if you want to, and I'm going to just keep going through the other steps. So you can run a report on your retirement plan. I'm not going to click on this now because it takes a little bit of time to run. I have a lot of information in this plan. But one recent addition to the report is that your user-defined what-if scenarios that we looked at a little bit earlier are also included in the report. And you can now also add your own notes and comments to report pages. So if you want to add a comment on any of these pages, you can go ahead and do that. If you have the the multiple plans feature, you'll see the option to click on My Plans over here. This will take you to the My Plans page, which is what you see when you first log in if you have the feature. And then in the global settings, you can find the asset class mapping, the asset allocation strategies, and the Monte Carlo assumptions. On the asset class mapping screen, you can edit the default asset classes by just clicking on them to open them up. A new window will appear, and in here you can edit the annual return and the return assumptions. You can also create your own asset class by just clicking here and just fill this in. And then the asset allocation strategies, also referred to as model portfolios. I refer to them as model portfolios mostly. Those can be found in here. We do use both in the software. You can make any changes that you want to our pre-existing model portfolios. You just click on them to open them. You can also delete them if you want to. In this window, you can change the percentages assigned to each asset class. You can also go ahead and create your own model portfolio or asset allocation strategy by clicking on Add Strategy up here. In the Monte Carlo assumption screen, you can change the standard deviations by clicking on any of these boxes and editing those. And if you scroll down, you can also make changes to any of the correlations. Let me take a look at some of these questions. Um, Rob, I don't know. Cumulative taxes for so your tax question. So you can see, I mean, you can see the cumulative taxes here over the entire plan, if that's what you're asking. And you can also see the difference per year down here, if that's what you're thinking. So total taxes paid for the Roth conversion year by year versus the base case. That might be what you're asking. So you'll see the tax difference here. And then obviously, if we scroll over, see if I can get that. Oops. Let me rerun this real quick. You'll see more. Let me go back to the other one actually. If there's more Roth IRA questions, I'll keep this in the background, but you can also scroll over to the right, obviously, to view the tax rates year by year, if that is also helpful. David is asking, how do I change the assigned asset class of a linked brokerage holding? So let me show you. We are now back in the cash flow inputs. We're going to go look at this brokerage account. We'll click on account holdings. So for example, Amazon, I want to edit that one, click on it, and then I can go ahead and choose a different asset class. You'll only need to do this once, so if they came in incorrect or assigned as cash, it can happen. It's how the broker is sending the information through Yodlee. You can go ahead and change it, and then it'll stay that way going forward. If you have multiple asset classes, so if it's a mutual fund, for example, an ETF, you'll see the ability to click on that, and then you can change to multiple ones. You can also change the ticker if it's come in wrong, or the name. If anyone has any other questions that they want me to kind of click on or things to show you or anything like that, let me know. David, for your question, why don't you go ahead and email me instead? And I'll ask the team because I'm not quite sure. And you can email me or us at support@mywealthtrace.com. But that's pretty much it for the webinar as far as the software goes. Again, if you have questions, feel free to send them. But I want to mention all of our various options for customer support. We have a live chat, which you can open by clicking on this button down here. If there are no live agents, so it says it's currently closed because I'm here with you, you can leave us a message and we will get back to you as soon as possible. We also have an extensive knowledge base where you can find answers to our most frequently asked questions. You can find that by clicking on the Knowledge Center button over here. I can click on it. So in here, you can just type in whatever question you have, and any related articles will pop up. Um, you can reach us via email, like I just mentioned. If you click on support over here on the left, this will redirect you to the contact us page on our website. So in here, you can either email us or you can send a message through this. And also, I should not forget, we have an online tutorial. If anyone has missed that, you can get to it by clicking here as well. But there's a ton of information in the online tutorial, very similar to what I'm going over now. But we do have more tutorials coming. And then finally, you can click on this button to schedule an expert support session with Doug. He is the founder of WealthTrace and a chartered financial analyst. I just saw a question from Rick asking how the planning sessions work. So it depends how you want them to work, kind of. If you have specific questions or scenarios that you want to run, if you want us to audit your plan for you, go through your plan settings, we can do that. If you want a financial advice, Doug can give you that. So it just depends. If you want to run through a Roth conversion analysis with him, that's also possible. So it's totally up to you. You can tailor it to however you want it to be. But you can click on this, and this is his scheduling page. And you can pick the different times that you want it to be. So 90 minutes, 60 minutes, 30 minutes, and go from there. Just looking at some more questions. Mitchell says when he's adding his own asset allocation scenario, it does not show up in other areas for the program to choose that allocation. So sometimes this has to do with custom asset classes if you're adding them in there. And then if you potentially deleted a custom asset class that's in that allocation, that can cause problems. If you want to also email me, I can take a look at that. If you want to let me know which allocation it is, I can see why it doesn't show up, but it should. Dave is asking, occasionally a link fails to work as an investment account. Is there an approved way to establish a link again or to force an update? So yes, there are various reasons why your accounts won't link, or if they're failing to update, or if they're just losing the update. If it is not updating, then you will see a red icon here instead with a big kind of warning sign. If you go ahead and click on that, it'll ask you to re-authenticate the link, and then you'll be able to follow the steps to update the account. Alternatively, if that for some reason does not work, you can also go ahead and click on Add an Account, Link Investment Account. Oh, it's because I've been in here for too long. If this happens, by the way, log out, log back in, and that should resolve it. But you can click on that, and then you can look up the investment or the brokerage firm again and go through it like you've never linked it before, and that should fix it for you. And occasionally links will break because the broker has security protocols in place that requires you to re-authenticate way more often than other links. So some of these might go red after a day, and that just has to do with their security protocols, and you just need to refresh the link. Carla's asking, I need to relink to brokerage. Is there a help link? So again, related to what I was just explaining, if it's not working and you're receiving an error message, please email us, or even easier or quicker, just send a quick chat here and I can take a look at it. Just let me know which account it is. And if you can, let me know the error message. That is also helpful. And then I can reach out to Yodlee and we can get it working again. Any other questions for me before we wrap things up? Thank you, David. Yes. Please email question to support@mywealthtrace.com. Yes. Nope, you can send it to there, and I'll have that forwarded to me. Or send it through the chat works as well. And again, that can also be forwarded directly to me. But if there are no other questions, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for attending today's webinar. Hopefully you found it helpful. And again, if you want to rewatch it, we will send out a link with the recording in probably 20-30 minutes or so. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye.